Okay, so we've actually taken the serpentine belt off. There's a new bracket that goes on for a new idler setup, so we did take the old idler off and put in the new bracket that comes with the E-Force kit. You've got 3 new bolts that go in. They need to be torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. There is a bolt here on the alternator that needs to come out. We're going to show you what we need to do on that side. But we'll put the new idler pulley on, get all the new belt run, and then we'll bolt all this back down. Then we'll start looking at the intake system. So anytime you're working with an open intake system, it's a good idea to go ahead and tape off all the intake ports, just in case a wrench or bolt or anything gets loose from you. You don't want it falling down in the intake and having to take the head off to go chase something down. So it's always a good idea to make sure you tape off everything. So we did do that. We're getting ready to get the intake in. We're going to get the belt finished first, and we'll get going. Okay, so as you can see, like I said, we already put our new pulley bracket on here. You can see we've actually added 3 new pulleys to the system here. We've got 2 idler pulleys and then the new serpentine pulley here. We're actually going to put the tensioner back on here in a sec. But all of these go back on, 18 foot-pounds of torque. Make sure everything's free spinning before you go too far. I think everything's good here. We're going to get ready to put the new tensioner on and get ready to put the intake in. Okay, a couple things I want to cover before we put these intake rails in. You actually do reuse the O-rings off of the old intake that was in the OE system, so make sure you take those out and install them into the intake rails with your E-Force kit. There's also a port on the end for if you're running a boost gauge. If you don't have it, make sure you put the plug in or you will have a bad vacuum leak there. So we've got all that taken care of. Both of the intake rails are ready to go in. So we're going to go prep the intake and put them in. Okay, so now we've installed the intake runners. Now each of these bolts down here, that's only 8 foot-pounds of torque, and what the instructions tell you to do is take everything down the line to 4 foot-pounds of torque and then come back and go 8 and go back and check everything. Make sure you don't over tighten this, because remember you're dealing with aluminum on aluminum, so you don't want to twist or spin anything out. So we've got everything torqued down. Now we're going to lay our wiring harness in and our vacuum hose, and we'll be ready to go.